Chairman Deering, we are ready to go again. Sorry about the technical difficulties.
We also need to transfer money from the general fund to the emergency management fund.
I'll make a motion to transfer the funds from the general fund to the emergency management fund in the amount of $17,000 in the emergency clause as well.
I'll second.
Motion and a second to transfer $17,000 from the general fund to the emergency management fund and to declare emergency. Any discussion to that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. I-4, which is a contingency transfer. This is the result of some of these budgets that have went over. We had $500,000, what we started out the year. In contingency, we used approximately $140,000 of that for the radios. Is that correct?
I believe it was $120,000.
Okay, I thought we had $120,000 for radios to better equip our law enforcement that's in that dead zone around that Piedmont area in particular, as well as other areas. Looks like there's about a little over $192,000 to transfer out of contingency to these funds. Had RIA and the auditor put together a resolution to do so, so it's quite clear. So any action would be in reference to this resolution. Any questions, comments on this contingency transfer?
Chairman Deering, may I add that this resolution does state that it shall become effective immediately upon publication.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Any questions, comments?
The Sheriff's Department is $156,000 over budget between sheriff or just the sheriff, I guess, and juvenile detention separate, right? That's a different line item. So
Yep.
$120,000 over budget. What is the primary? What piece was that they're over budget on? Are they just generally over budget?
Don't remember the specifics. I don't have them in front of me. We can look quick.
Juvenile detention. To my knowledge, that can go up and down and can vary, and it's really hard to budget. And it's something that a lot of years we've been way under on when it comes to budget. This year just happened to catch us.
Well, 92,000 of the sheriff's. He has $92,000 in overtime. I don't know how many of those overtime hours are the result of that grant that he got that then pays for that, and how soon we get the money back to refill the coffers.
And I'll make a note that you're accurate that is the overtime, but I'm not so sure they were over budget on wages themselves.
Right. Communications is a separate department as well.
No, I understand, but there is overtime in the sheriff's department. But
yes, right, and the grants that they get aren't reflected.
Are you looking that up? Yeah, I thought so. So I was kind of.
It does look like sheriff wages are over by
92,000.
190,000.
So that would contribute to the line share of that over.
Like retirement's over as well, which plays into that whole package.
Right.
Their vehicle repair and maintenance is over as well by 36,000.
Yes. Looks like uniforms and equipment is also over by a little over 9,000. And software and computers is over by 16. Facilities is over by 8. Autopsies over by 6,000.
So, I kind of wish Pat was here for this piece, but I mean,
Gotta pay it.
well, I know we got to pay it, but we get to the end of the year and then we have to approve the $120,000. that's the frustrating part for me is some of them, you know, the other ones are all minor overages. It's not that big a deal, but it seems like a big number to approve for the sheriff. I know we have to do it, but I'm not a big fan of this. Make a motion.
Well,
to
I'm surprised when you mentioned the 9,000 and equipment and stuff, because I thought it was just at a recent meeting we were told there was a $5,000 that hadn't been spent yet.
Commissioner, or Chairman Deering, I would like to just reiterate that they are getting grant money for some of their overtime, which is not reflected in their expense budget. It goes into a separate revenue line. So they are making up some of that money.
How much money has come in on that? Yeah, and I guess I'd like to point out I spend a lot of time on this budget and most of these line items, for instance, court-appointed attorney, there's almost no control over.
Right.
Abused and neglected. Again, I am liaison on the sheriff's department as well. So, also, go ahead.
They have brought in over more than $90,000 in grant money.
In total grant money or on the safety grant for overtime?
The safety grant is close to $7,000, and the COPS CIT grant is about $89,000.
Because that grant, the way I understand, that was for that got us an officer. Is that right? The safety grant was one in particular that Commissioner Creed brought up for the overtime. So it's is why I want to point that out, because the safety grant is, again, I wish Pat was here too, but the safety grant was what was to get overtime to put in checkpoints on some rural roads, the way I understand the grant. So in direct correlation to overtime, it was the safety grant would be the one that was $7,000.
Correct.
Any questions, comments, and/or action?
make a motion to approve resolution 2025-35. Emergency clause is within that.
Motion and a second on the floor to approve resolution 2025-35 and to declare an emergency, which is already in that resolution. So that doesn't necessarily necessary, but we can still add it. Any discussion to that motion?
Chairman Deering, who seconded that motion?
Talbot did.
Thank you.
Any discussion to that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. This gets down to our general fund assignments, which we also have a resolution. I know Commissioner Liggett and I had quite a bit of conversation on this. I will say that Commissioner Liggett did the lion's share of the work, which he did last year as well. So if he'd like to explain.
We want the levy.
Did I skip over one? I did skip over one. I apologize. Let's go to number 5, the resolution on the update with the levies and the signatures. This is just an update from we passed this for the budget. Go ahead, Dawn, if you'd like to explain.
On the screen is the new adopted budget levies and resolution. There is no change to the dollar amounts in the budget. However, the library levy changed slightly and the secondary road levy changed slightly. And this is due to figuring out the correct valuation calculations for library and secondary roads. The library levy changed from 0.014 to 0.015, and the secondary road levy changed from 0.217 to 0.238. And so we are just requesting approval for these levies from the Commission. These levies have been approved at the state level.
Any questions on that? This too is something that comes up every year with the numbers change from the time we budget, basically, is what happens, so the levy has to be.
So the levy number changes, but the budget dollars.
Budget dollars stay the same. It's what we set. The budget dollars is what the commission set, but obviously the valuation changes, which formula to figure out the. I need a motion to approve these new levies.
I'll second.
I think would be just appropriate, just for point of clarification, would be to approve the levies and this resolution that's presented. I think, is that fine with you guys? Yes, okay. Motion and a second on the floor to approve levies and this resolution that is presented. Any discussion to that motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Now let's go down to the general fund assignments. It's something that we started last year. The state only allows the county to carry in cash reserves 40% of their general budget. We have a little bit over, so we either need to have that budgeted or obviously or assigned. So we're seeking ideas and projects from department heads that they would like to take a look at. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to get done. It also does not give the department heads budget authority. They have to come back and to purchase something on an assignment list, they have to come back before the commission, and we have to have a hearing and move money out of assignments in this case and into that line item. Commissioner Liggett, do you have anything to add to that? You did a lot of work on this, and I appreciate it.
So yeah, like Gary said, this is the second time we've done this. The first time, which was last year, it actually made our budget this year easier, I think, because we didn't have, the special projects that were within those budgets to say, you had a $10 million budget when in all actuality it was a $5 million budget. So I like the process of this. It keeps the department budgets closer to the actual number, and it identifies the special projects within the county that we're able to assign some money for. One thing to note, we actually last year I think we assigned the number, right, or really close to the number. This year the recommendation from the state was to actually over-assign, so we're not bumping up against that 40% number. So we did over-assign funds, in this. Some of these are really good. There's a chance that some of these projects are going to get done. There's a chance that some of them are going to get pushed maybe to the second year. But there's a lot of things in here that we've talked about during the entire year. So IT's brought up some issues. We've identified those, put it into our budget for next year, but we put it in as a special project. We still have to go through the hearing process, so it's not like we're giving the money away. We're not budgeted currently. We still have to do the hearing. The highways obviously got a big number in there, but there's a lot of road projects that we do need to accomplish next year. We do have New Underwood road work in there. We have crack sealing patches, some other things like that in there as well. So we have a section of roadway between Lawrence County and Pennington County. No idea really what happened here. Pennington rebuilt their portion. Lawrence rebuilt their portion. We have 0.7 miles in the middle that's kind of needs a lot of work. Became kind of an expensive project for us. So those types of things. We are looking at the safety grant piece on Elk Creek as well. We have a 10% match on that. We have a big grant opportunity on Antelope Creek Road, and as we discussed
it helps. We did get some of our assignments taken care of this year. Haynes was one of them. Although the result on New Underwood Road maybe is not what some people desired, we did put some money and get that in there. We do got Millwood Road on assignments for next year, so we're obviously going to take a look at that again. But so I like that from a planning perspective with the commission as well as the department heads. So, if there's nothing else, is there any other questions, comments on these assignments? Is there anything the commission wishes that that maybe Rich or I missed on here, or maybe shouldn't have assigned?
Chairman Deering? Starting in 2026, we will be able to set up new expense line items for the assignments, so it will be easier to track where those budget supplements are and the expenses coming out for those.
That would be wonderful, 'cause I know we've discussed that. It gets a little bit confusing sometimes how those come in. So, any other questions, comments on this assignment? Otherwise, we do have a resolution that is in front of us for these numbers. Questions, comments, and or action on this resolution, which is 2025-36.
Does this need to be an emergency?
It includes that. It's in the be it further resolved. It includes that. It shall become effective immediately on approval. It's probably not as necessary with these assignments, simply because we need it. If we have to transfer money, we still have to have a hearing to transfer money. So, but it does include that. So, yeah.
My only question was, originally on this was whether or not we had over the 40% at the end of the year, but that's why we have this in here. So, I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2025-36.
Second.
Motion and second to pass Resolution 2025-36. Any discussion to that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The motion carries. Brings us to I-7, which is a project the auditor has been working on shortly after becoming auditor. I think this is something you were tasked with. If you could give us, I see we have some people here from Somerset. I'm glad Gwen and Lisa showed up today if they'd like to come forward. I'll have Don give us a brief overview of it first. If you guys would like to come forward and discuss, that'd be great. So, go ahead, Don.
We had sent an email out to cities and schools asking what ones wanted to combine elections with Meade County in 2026, because the new law is that they can combine, but they don't have to, but they do have to have them on the same date as the county. So the entities that have decided to combine with Meade County are City of Piedmont, City of Somerset, the Meade School District, and the Rapid City School District. The entities holding their elections in conjunction with Meade County is the City of Faith, the Douglas School, the Faith School, the New Underwood School, the Wall School, and the City of Sturgis does not have an election. And in our email, we had said no reply. We'll assume that they are not combining with Meade County. We did not get a reply from Faith School, but the City of Faith email suggested that they were going to hold their elections together. The City of Box Elder did let us know just this week that they are not combining. They are holding theirs in conjunction. And the Newell School District has not decided yet. They have a very small number of voters, and they're just kind of waiting for the contract and the price before they decide.
And you just brought that up, that this is all, they expressed a desire to combine with us, but we have not, the commission needs to set a price, is that correct? And that's what we have before us today as well.
Correct. We have a proposed agreement for the cities and the schools, and we have proposed costs that we need to discuss to send out to all the entities.
Sure. So we'll have to set a price on that, and then they can decide after that if they want to pay that or not. Is it any you guys like to come forward and speak towards this? Lisa, Gwen? Don't want to put you on the spot, but you are here, so if you have something input.
Good morning, Commission. Lisa Schieffer, City Administrator for Somerset. I think it's a fantastic idea of basically being able to combine elections. The intent behind this law, of course, was to make sure that people were getting out to vote, because a lot of times when you're doing your own local election, you don't have the turnout numbers. Unfortunately, when you do a mass combination of this, you are dealing with different laws. Of course, of now the municipalities coming in where schools had done it before, municipalities were given that option of having it in April. Some of the concerns of some of your smaller entities are, what's the cost going to be? You know, an average election for us to run in a smaller city is somewhere around $1,200 to $1,500. So, you know, concerns are flat rate or doing it by itemization. That's one of the biggest concerns. But obviously the overall effect is what is going to be the best for your citizens. If you were to split, you have the possibility of your voters being very frustrated of, I have to go here to vote here or go here to vote here. Depending on where your polling precincts are also, if you're sharing a small one, sometimes you can't get two different election boards in there. So there's kind of some other factors into it, but for the most part, your smaller cities is, you know, what will the cost be in the end? But I think everyone is in agreement that we want citizens to get out and vote. And the easiest is to make sure they're doing it all at one place and not traveling here or there, because unfortunately the person that's going to get the call is probably Dawn. And we just want to make life as easy as possible.
Thank you, Ms. Schieffer. So along with that, maybe Dawn as auditor, I know you've been only added a short time. Rhea, if you'd like to chime in as well. You guys did go to some classes on this. Can you give us some advantages, disadvantages of doing so? And actually, you're the auditor, so therefore you are in charge of elections. Just maybe your general thought.
One of the pros is definitely it's better for the voter to be able to go to one location and vote one ballot. One of the cons, it will create more work for us, but we're up to the task, we're up to the challenge. Combining with the entities that are interested in combining will create 62 or 63 extra ballot styles compared to what we would normally have. So there is that challenge as well, and there is going to be additional costs, even just the additional cost of us sitting down and figuring everything out.
Rhea, do you have anything to add? Okay. Ken, you were part of this meeting when we first started this process. Can you go over some of the legal, who's in charge? Obviously, goes through the county, but is still a municipal election at some point.
Correct.
Okay.
Municipal, the school districts, whoever that choose to combine, we run everything from the point after they tell us who their candidates are. So we do all the publications, we do the vote counting. Each entity does their own canvas, which creates some issues as to particularly the school district, because they'll have a whole bunch of polling books. The cities aren't so bad. You can copy the polling books and just provide. We'd have to work on the mechanics with the school district, where maybe Don carries over the originals for them to review and then return back to us. It's just a mechanical step as to what's the most logical. So our increased expenses are both in the size of the ballot. We have to put it together and send it off, and as you said, the extra number of ballots that exist for that. And then the counting, I don't think really adds any particular expenses, but the publications do. Somerset, for example, their legal newspaper is Rapid City Journal, so we have to publish everything that's going into Somerset, which is the whole ballot for Somerset and the county and statewide offices. Those have to be published someplace other than where we usually do.
So is that up to Somerset to make sure that gets published where they need to have it published, or is that up to us?
That's up to us, because that will be the full form of the ballot, which the auditor is responsible for. And the dates, they line up the same, so I don't see any mechanical steps that are going to be too difficult. But, you're here discussing the costs. we have to agree to to combining elections, as does the entity, and we have to do it at an agreed upon cost. So, I don't know. We've done this a flat fee in the past with the school districts is where we started at as a dollar amount. And I think it was what, 2,500 was a flat fee at some in the past. But when you're doing like Piedmont or Somerset, the $2,500 is a huge number for them. So perhaps you end up looking at, expected number of voters versus the total cost of the elections or something. That's, for you guys to decide as a policy.
So it was my understanding, Don, that it was your goal for us to come up with a cost at this meeting so that we could start getting this out to because we have a fairly short window here. Absentee ballots start in April 1st, 2nd, somewhere in there.
The middle of April. I
Middle
don't have
of
the
April,
calendar in front of me.
So
but
we'll have to have ballots ready soon, very soon. So it was your goal to have a cost. So do you have, and this could enter into...
Even earlier than that is the timing for the entities to declare that they're going to combine or do it in conjunction.
Certainly. So we have to get a cost out. What I'm saying is that's why this meeting is fairly, or is a pretty kind of hard deadline. Because we got to get the cost to them, and then they have to get back to us whether they want to combine with us or not. So I'll ask you this. This could enter under contractual, so if you're more comfortable discussing some of this in exec, that's fine, unless you have, do you have numbers that you are comfortable with?
I do have numbers. I would like to add that the Meade School District in 2024 paid $11,000 to combine. We have a proposed minimum cost of $2,500, and the minimum cost would apply to the City of Piedmont, the City of Somerset. The Meade School District proposed cost that we have is $14,000, and the Rapid City School District proposed cost we have is $4,000. And that averages out to be about $1 per registered voter.
I would assume, since Ken mentioned publication costs, we would need to list, can you have an addendum to the contract that the legal costs, the exact legal costs are billed in addition to the flat rate?
I would guess you could put in the contract that we'd want to include publication costs. You could just leave it at that, couldn't you, Ken?
Yeah, and the question is whether the publication cost is included in the numbers that Don is proposing, or if it's in addition to.
That would be
you can go either direction.
That would be a question for Don. Did you calculate the publication cost into those numbers?
We didn't add anything specifically for publication costs.
She would have no idea because it would depend upon the size of the ballot, the number of candidates, and which newspapers.
That's why I wanted to ask.
Lisa did provide that her average cost of publication is $300 per election.
And we've already put our vacancies in because with how the new law was to read, we had to have our vacancies in the paper already between December 15th and December 30th. But the law does state for the municipalities that we have to make a decision on the date of the election before January 14th. So you might still have some room. I mean, we'll decide on the date to be with June to combine with you, but you might have some time to technically...
Yeah, each entity can choose either the June or the November election.
Yeah,
we're not necessarily doing all of the entities that we're combining with in June. We may have some in June and some in November.
Yeah, but
that'll affect the size of the ballot and some cost issues.
We don't have much time to decide. We have to decide the cost. The commission
so that they can make
a
decision whether to combine in June.
The auditor makes the decision how the election is handled, and the commission's in charge of the cost.
Yes.
So that's what's before. Honestly, yeah, we have very little time because it's January 13th is our first meeting, correct? So we're got to.
How much extra is it costing to print 62 more different types of ballots?
Don?
Well, the number of ballots won't necessarily change that much, I don't believe. It's just the different styles.
Yeah, but the different styles is a different print. And that's why I was wondering, because it's not the number about being in the printing business. It's not the number of, not the total number of ballots that cost you. It's the number of different ballots that cost you.
Versions.
The number
Yeah,
of
yeah.
versions.
The number of setups, if you,
The number of
splits.
setups.
The one thing that you will need to watch out for is you'll need to definitely work with your other counties that you cross over. Doreen will know this by example of if a county decides not to, but another county decides to on a split,
What do you do?
that means you're reporting to the Secretary of State's office on your numbers, not on another county's numbers, which can be very confusing at the end of the night because, as you and I both know, here was your projected winner because they went off of stuff there. So you want to make sure.
Which Secretary of State is actually addressing that. We did
Good.
visit about that at the last school that we went to.
Good, good.
Well, yeah, when you said 62 more ballots, I got to thinking about, Lisa, before you leave, you know, that little, you know, that big thing you bring in that has all the slots
Mm-hmm.
for all the different, how many ballots does that thing hold? How many different ballots does that hold?
I will tell you that we filled probably the front side and half of the back side because you have splits for if you're going to have Republican, Democrat. If you go with the schools, a separate independent ballot as well. You're adding 62 different types of splits because of schools, municipalities, everything else. You're going to need a bigger one.
And also, we will have an additional federal ballot
Yes.
possibly this year as well
We-
with the
we-
new law. And we have space in our back room in the cupboards.
We filled that last year and then a file cabinet. I mean,
Yes, because
Well-
they will have to deal with a federal ballot this year as well, which
I could be wrong. It just seems like your proposed printing costs seem low to
And-
me.
I think it's fair to say that they would be low because we will be printing a larger ballot than the city of Somerset would print.
Yes, I know, but it takes that different ink and everything. I'm talking about buying them. Did you get a price quote?
Well, I did not get a price quote for
because
next year, but when we looked at costs for the elections last year, the primary averaged $1.28 per ballot. The general election averaged 61 cents per ballot. And with the primary, I believe we had some extra ordering of test ballots that wasn't needed, which increased that average.
again, I'm not concerned about the number of ballots printed. I'm concerned about the fact there's 62 new revisions, and right now, under the last primary election, how many different versions were there?
You have a recommendation, Commissioner Creed, of what to add to those costs that she proposed?
Well, not unless I know how many ballot versions were used in the last primary, and then you're going to have to assume, because 20 ballots, for instance, at Hereford could cost the same amount as an entire precinct in the city of Sturgis, because it's a smaller number, and it's that special, isn't it a special magnetic ink or whatever? You can only go a couple of places in the country to get those ballots, and if you,
Dawn, Rhea, do you have an idea of what you had for splits at the last election? Because Dawn's talking adding 60 some odd splits, but
Yeah, we didn't, there were no significant, there were new splits. We have what we've always had last year.
which is approximately what?
I want to say we had, didn't you do an article, Doreen, that said we had 120 some ballots? Styles?
no, I don't recall that many. Do you recall, Lisa? All I remember is, that's why I asked, how many slots that thing can hold.
What-
Because
Not enough.
I know. I'm saying it is worth a phone call to the ballot printer to ask, on average, 62 more types of ballots, what would they cost? You cannot just take and assume you're printing more ballots, as cost is going to be.
I assume in your average, Don, you put the coding from ES
I
and as you
included
put,
all of the
yep.
charges from them, the setup, the coding, the printing.
So the
So
coding
that,
would be the
the
split.
average includes all of that, and it's based on a $1 to $500 or 1 to 500 ballot styles. So
So,
Whatever. I'm just saying.
So I'm just, from a philosophical standpoint, you can chase trying to cost allocate to death. While I appreciate trying to cost allocate as much as possible, in the scheme of things, I look at the auditor's office and I look at elections as a service we're doing for the citizens. And the reason you want to consolidate is to make sure for the ease of the citizens to vote. So I'm fine with the number she's proposed rather than pushing this anymore, because how much time we're going to do, at some point it becomes counterproductive. The time you waste trying to get it down to the penny becomes counterproductive to the cost recovered. So I'm going to support your estimates, your proposals right now rather than continue to chase them, especially because we just need to get on the way this ballot process, because it's going to be a big year. There's a lot of laws being changed. We just need to move along. Now, this is subject to refinement. If we get in, we go, well, I mean, Dawn can tell us at the end, next year we're going to have to do this different because we have some cost causers I didn't recognize or I can see it now. I think that makes sense. So, Commissioner Creed, I do appreciate, I'm a big believer in cost causers paying their way. In this situation, I think let's make our move today. Let's get going. Let's get those numbers out there. Let's get this locked down and just get this election behind us. It's going to be a bit chaotic because the state legislatures passed some laws that need to be implemented, and I think we just move.
I'm not against this combined thing. I'm just saying that I will be surprised if it doesn't cost us more than we anticipate.
I think you're probably right. I think it's probably going to cost us more than we anticipated. I think the county's going to take a hit a bit on this. But again, because I see this as the way our government is structured, we have the auditor, part of our service to the people. It just makes sense to get this moving and get it done. And it sounds, Dawn's looked at it and done an estimated allocation.
I think in addition to the cost, one of the other significant challenges for Meade County is going to be the fact that we are going to now have to educate the poll workers that are now, rather than having one ballot at their table, they're going to have 2, 3, 4 different ballots, and we have to educate them how to properly give the public the correct ballots at their vote counts.
That's going to be some work, and the other thing you do as a poll watcher, you have to do ballot count. You're going to have to make sure that they keep their piles separate, and they're going to count more than one pile. They're going to be counting 4. So
if they're the same poll workers, you may end up with 3 sets of poll workers at 3 different locations.
Yeah, you could do that too.
It is going to be.
Anybody else have anything to add to this? I agree with Commissioner Wyzorek. I think our auditor, this has come quick, but it had to. This just basically was thrown into everyone's laps here. Not very. We had a feeling it was coming, but with that said, it was officially kind of thrown into our laps not very long ago. So I think we need to move on this, in my opinion, and reassess this next year. I agree with Commissioner Creed. This could be something. That was my concern going into this. I do think Dawn did a good job of trying to figure out as close as she could, and obviously she's worked with the other municipalities and everybody else and visited with them and to try to get an idea. But right now I think this is the year we just got to see what it's going to be for the future.
I'd like to echo that. I think we probably will come under. We'll lose some money on this deal, but like you said, Lisa, this is about getting the people there, giving them the opportunity to vote, and it's going to cost cities a little bit more. It's going to cost the county more, but it's really an opportunity.
With that, could I any more discussion or action on these proposed costs to get out to the municipalities?
So what are we looking for here? Just
I guess I would recommend if you agree with the costs, the dollar amounts that Don has put forward, I would I think a motion to put these within the contract to each of these municipalities entities. Go ahead.
Chairman Deering, I just want to be sure everyone had a chance to review the agreements. I laid a paper agreement by you, and it is also in executive content. These agreements have been reviewed by Ken as well.
I just need to insert the dollars, I think is all that's...
The agreement is also in our agenda, isn't it? Yes. Yes.
It's in the executive aspect.
Yeah, within the agenda, though.
well, we've got the proposed in the.
I'll make a motion to approve the recommended cost to the City of Piedmont, Somerset, Meade School District, and Rapid City School District.
Motion is second on the floor to approve the recommended costs to those municipalities listed. Would that then give the auditor some discretion if she felt that she had to go up on that? So it does she could still go up.
Yeah, it gives her a number to take to those entities who haven't declared.
Okay, but if they
to say,
want an official
this is where
number,
we're starting at.
But it doesn't give her that. It just gives her that $2,500. So she can't raise that if it looks like it's.
I said it's minimum of. So if she if
she
the
could
discretion is
so
4,000, then that's what it is.
Okay, so could we put that in the motion to leave it the auditor's discretion so that's clear? That'd be better, wouldn't it, Ken?
Well, the ones that haven't declared are City of Box Elder and so.
City of Box Elder did get back to us on Monday that they are holding theirs in conjunction, not combining.
So they're
So
not
it's
combining.
just Newell School District that hasn't decided.
Okay, so that would be the only one, and we can just set the minimum for the Newell School District. If they do combine, it's going to be $2,500. Are you comfortable with that number?
I am.
Okay, that's
So I'll revise my.
well, just to set the price at $2,500.
Yeah.
Basically, his original motion said that that he's given the auditor the authority to say it's going to be at least $2,500.
Yeah.
But this would set it at $2,500.
And that, if that's what you want to do instead of flexibility, yes.
Yeah. So I will set them. I'll make a motion to set the combined election cost for Newell School District at $2,500.
Second.
Motion is second on the floor to set the cost for Newell School District at $2,500. Discussion to that motion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Then we would also need these agreements approved. Essentially the form. You're just going to add the dollar figure to whoever you send this to.
Correct.
And those be the same motion because
It'd be, yes. I would think so. Yeah, Ken.
I'll make a motion to approve the agreements between the counties and the school districts and the county and the cities or municipalities for the fees that we have approved.
For the 2026 election, I would.
For the 2026.
I have a motion, a second on the floor to approve the combined municipal agreements and the combined school agreements for 2026 election. Any discussion to that motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Brings us to item J1, jail medical services, which is contractual and legal. I think we have some things we need to discuss in exec on those two items. So if I get a motion to go into exec.
Personnel.
Personnel, yeah. Okay, thank you. Do I get a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second on the floor to enter into exec for legal, personnel, and contractual. Any discussion to that motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I'll call the meeting back to order.
Like that.
You mocking me? No?
Every chance we get.
Thank you. Let's just, we got a few things in HR we need to handle. The jail medical services, which on our agenda we had possibility of an extension with their jail medical contract with the city of Sturgis. It looks like they have some numbers for us. Is that correct, Rhea?
Yes, the jail medical, if you don't mind me taking a minute to pull this up.
Sure.
The city has said that they are willing to provide continued services for $14,500 a month for the months of January and February for services as normal in the contract, including nurses and ambulance transports, not including blood draws.
Okay, well, if that, Chief Deputy Clever brought up a good point. And I don't think the city would mind this, but if there's an opportunity to do this month by month, or
I think a motion to authorize extension of the contract on a month-by-month basis through at most February. That way, if an alternative develops in the month of January, we're not obligated for the February. And the language from that Ms. Green read would indicate a month-to-month rather than a 2-month contract.
So it already has, okay. Yeah. So we would need something drafted up, I would assume, and I would need in the motion an authorization for me to sign. Is that correct?
Yes, and I asked Ms. Crane to reach out to the city. They drafted the original contract to see if they want to draft the extension or if they want us to.
Okay. Any questions, comments?
Make a motion to authorize the chair to execute an extension with the city to pay $14,500 a month for January, February, if needed, for the services as prescribed in the existing contract, including nurses and ambulance responses, but minus blood draws.
Second that.
A motion is second. It would be, we'd possibly need to declare an emergency on that motion. Is that correct, Ken?
Declare an emergency.
I have a motion and a second on the floor to authorize me to sign an agreement with City of Sturgis. Any discussion to that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Also on our agenda was RN job description. Someone want to make a motion to open that position? Not hearing any actions, it's going to die for lack of action at this point in time. Also on our agenda was national.
For the RN.
Oh, yeah. You wish to. Okay. Also, there's a proposal from National Medical Resources. There's no contract. There's really no action required unless someone's want to direct somebody to pursue a contract with them. Otherwise, that would complete that part of our agenda. Let's go back to planning board nominations. How I think appropriate to handle this will be I'll take a motion for a nomination, which will require a second.
Make a motion to reappoint Faulkner to her position on the planning.
I want to clarify. I think we'll go first for the full 3-year term, and then we'll come back and take nominations for the 9
to her term, her position. So that would.
Okay, that's you got me.
I'll second C. I think she's done a great job.
Yeah, you got a motion and a second for C. Do we have any other nominations? Any other nominations? Hearing no more nominations, and we got a motion and a second on the floor to appoint C. Faulkner for for a full 3-year term to the planning board. Any discussion to that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. He is appointed for a full 3-year term to the planning board. I'll open up nominations for the 9-month term, which will start in March. Is that correct, Talbot?
The resignation is after the March meeting, so my understanding is that you have to assume the position at the April meeting, or that the appointment become effective mid-March.
Okay. Okay, thank you. And that will go till the end of next year, 2020.
Yes, and that then position will
3 years. Okay.
It'd be the time for renewal.
Okay, I'll open up nominations at this time for that position.
I'll make a motion to nominate, or I'll make a motion to appoint Scott Norman effective upon the resignation, formal resignation date of.
I'll second.
And we have a second. Do we have any more nominations? Any more nominations? Any more nominations? I have a motion, a second on the floor to appoint Scott Norman for the term starting in April to the end of next year. Any discussion to that motion?
Yeah, it was a great group of people. So you try to find that balance. Frankly, I'm an advocate for Steve. She's been on the board. She's got some history there. She does a really good job of asking questions and playing it straight down the line. So, the second decision was much harder for me than motion.
And the 9 or 10 years I've been involved with the county and the planning is the great group of candidates. I mean, it's great to see the people want to be involved in it. So.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor to appoint Scott Norman for that essentially 9-month term on the planning board. Any more discussion to that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. That concludes our agenda. We've gotten through the agenda and concludes the business we need to take care of. So I consider us adjourned for 2025. I just reminder the office, Erskine Building, is closed to the public tomorrow afternoon. So just want to put that reminder out. So Merry Christmas.